Well, we want to quickly dive into the host government agreements between Uganda and Tanzania. Now that they are resolved, what are some of the things that you have to do in order to ensure that Ugandans are better skilled for the job ahead?
Well, the signing of the host government agreements, first and foremost, is a very, very important signal to everybody involved within the sector, both in Uganda and the countries, the transit countries, that there is political will and there is every intention to see this through. In the beginning, people were wondering whether this is going to happen, what is going to happen. But that commitment now has been demonstrated by the Ugandan government and the Tanzanian government agreeing on what needs to be done in the cooperation that is involved for the host government agreement. So that, first and foremost, is a good commitment. Secondly, I think this is the gun going off for those that intend to actually participate in the industry, to take on a sense of urgency in terms of preparedness. For us in training, this is when, for the time lag that has been, people were losing the impetus, as you said. What should we do? Is this happening? We're not getting jobs. But now, with this being signed, I think it's high time that we do this with a sense of urgency, instead of pushing, start introducing things that we had let down and make sure that we can see this through.
Well, speaking about the things that you feel should be done with the urgency, like you mentioned, what are some of the other regulatory interventions that are needed to make it efficient for Ugandan skills to be improved in there?
Well, Sandra, number of laws have been enacted over the years, and we're very happy for those. We have the Local Content Act recently been sorted out, the oil and gas, the Petroleum Production Act that was done a few years ago. These laws are all fantastic, but that is not enough. We need to do more, especially in light of the time that we have right now. And I think what it requires is government to do a targeted, proactive effort to identify people that need to be involved to do the work. This is the problem. We're worried, especially in regard to local content, that when the industry starts running, there won't be enough Ugandans to benefit. And then the industry will be forced to import labor from outside. But if you leave this effort entirely to the private sector to mobilize the training and we are in the skills development area in regard to the oil and gas industry. I'm blessed to be a part of the Oil and Gas Trainers Association among the leaders. But it is not enough to leave the private sector to mobilize itself to get the skills we need ready. I think government needs to do targeted efforts. Identify these people, identify providers like us, like the Institute of Petroleum Studies, where I work, partner with institutions within the private sector and the government institutions. Train those people and make sure that we have the right numbers, not to wonder whether the private sector is doing enough. Government needs to step in, bring the money on table, let us do the job and get these people ready, because we are running out of time.
All right, so the government and the private sector basically just need to work together.
Absolutely.
Well, do you have any international benchmarking that you're currently doing, considering that now you will probably be training Ugandans, but at a time when we are all maintaining social distance, but also trying to protect ourselves from COVID-19, but also have to do the job? Yeah,
first and foremost, I think I will resound what everybody else has been saying, that we are seeing a world that is changed almost permanently. We are very unlikely that we will revert back to how the world was pre-COVID. In the post-COVID world, we have a lot of reliance on technology. And when it comes to education, I think it becomes very, very important that providers and people in the education sector raise up to the occasion and invest heavily. Again, I won't fail to say that if there is help, we need to be able to access that help. Thankfully, for the Institute of Petroleum Studies, we were able to do this way ahead of the lockdown. We had already heavily invested in technology, so our course of study was not interrupted by this. And I can say, well, that if people lose their fear for technology and put money where the mouth is right now, because the world is reliant on it, especially in regard to skilling, we will be able to do well.